content, the fluency, and the organization. So I'm going to go ahead and share so you can also see it. And I'll read it to you. So Bellwork number 16, favorite time of the day. Prompt, what is your favorite time of the day? Why? Describe the moment so we can feel like we are with you and understand why it is your favorite. Consider including images or sounds to enhance the experience for your audience, reader, listener. Okay, so here's what I have included. Do you hear that? I whispered to my cat. Hear what? I imagine my cat whispering back to me. In reality, there's just a little meow and a squinting of my cat's eyes, and he looks at me. I heard that is a sign of the cat feeling comfortable with its person. It is dark out. Nighttime. The solar lights on my trees have started to twinkle, and I smile, thinking of how my son took the time to change out the batteries, and I remember the moments at the Valley of the Moon, a magical fairyland in the northern central part of Tucson. I breathe in deeply, and I feel content. The nighttime, my favorite time of the day. And as we scroll down, we can see I have a picture of some solar lights and then also the website for Valley of the Moon. So go ahead and score me. Remember, you're going to do 3 scores. The first score is for content. The second score is for fluency. And the third score is for organization. Just a reminder, the lowest score that we give in this class is a 5. Even if there is nothing, it is a 5. 6 is a D, meaning for content anyways, right? That all the parts of the prompt were not answered. 7 means the parts of the prompt were answered. 8 means, hey, that was pretty good. I could start feeling like I was there. 9 is like, hey, yeah, I was there. And 10 is like, I want to go there. Okay, for content. Fluency, remember you're looking also at the spelling, the grammar. You're thinking about when I read it to you, were there a little ands and ums and things? Remember, I just read it straight to you, so there's not really a need for ands and ums. And then organization. Was it staying on topic, or was it kind of going everywhere, like little rabbit trails, etc.? So I've got 1 score, 2 scores in the comments. Let's keep them going in. These are also for points. You are just getting credit just for participating in our activity, which is scoring. This isn't a thing where I'm going to be mad and be like, oh my gosh, you gave me a low score and I'm going to give you a low score. No, none of that. This is just you guys thinking about how was it. 3 scores, please. The first score is content, the second score is fluency, and the third score is organization. And then we'll discuss it, okay? I'm not going to share what you guys put down as a score because at the end of last quarter, remember I gave you guys an opportunity to write me a letter about what did you like about the class and etc. Some of us are still uncomfortable about having folks share, what our opinions are. Totally respect that. Hopefully by the end of the semester, you guys will feel more comfortable and confident. But so I will just kind of share with you what others thought, and then I will share with you what the final score is. You have about 10 more seconds to put something in, and then I'm going to share what my final score is, and then it's going to be too late for you to share, and the scoring window will be closed. You have 8 seconds. 5 seconds. 2 seconds to put in the score in the chat box. 3 numbers. Okay, so let me go ahead and share you the score that I would have given this. Ta-da! In the chat box. And if one of you had written this, I would have given you a 9, a 10, and then an 8.5. Okay, and the reason why, content. So let me tell you, first of all, that there are some of you who gave lower than a 9 on content. Again, I'm not mad at you. I'm just kind of noticing who's written and who hasn't written. Right? You just got to check mark just for participating in this activity. Remember, a 9, I said, is kind of like, you're like, whoa, that was really great. Like, I could feel like I was there. Remember, the 10 is like, I'm going to go there. That's going to be my favorite time now, right? You've convinced the person. And 8 is like, that was pretty good. A 7 is like, Okay, thanks. And a 6 is you didn't answer all the parts. So for content scores, y'all gave 7, 8, 10, 8, 8, 8, 8, 9, 8, 4, 9. And so maybe it could be an 8.5 because I'm saying a 9, but maybe you're like, oh, not quite. Okay, let me tell you why I would give it a 9 as a content. Content, you need to answer all the parts of the question. What is the favorite time of the day? It is nighttime. It says it there explicitly, right? The last sentence, the nighttime, my favorite time of the day. Why? And this might be why some of you were like, I don't think she answered the why. But if we look at it, I didn't say this is my favorite time of the day because, right? Although you could say that second to the last paragraph, I breathe in deeply and I feel content, right? So why is it my favorite time of the day? Because I feel content. Then you could also say, well, what makes Miss Chu feel content? What are the things that happen there? And so we have to kind of infer here, right? I'm able to, in the first paragraph, I'm able to whisper to my cat. So if it's a loud place, right, I might not be able to whisper. Or even if it was loud, I could whisper, but maybe it would be a different feel here. So either way, I'm using this as an example, this whispering, which is leading to me feeling content. I'm also talking about right here, it's dark out, right? That could be part of the why, okay? And that maybe is leading me to feel content. And then right here, this right? This is the onomatopoeia that is usually like oh, this feels good and comforting. That being said, when you're reading this on your own, you might be like, is that like an ah or is that like an ah? Right? Because it could be spelled the same way. It's the homophone spelling. And so maybe you're thinking, oh, it's a scream. That being said, I read it to you, right, out loud. So you heard me say ah, like a nice, soothing kind of thing, right? So it's helping me feel calmer here. So this ah. And then here are some things that I'm seeing. The solar lights are starting to twinkle, right? And what happens when that happens? I smile. And then what do? I start having these happy memories that are here. All of that being said, remember, sometimes words have create a different response in a person. Like right here, magical. To some people, something that's magical is great, right? It's like, oh, that's so nice. But to some people, like something magical might have been taught to them as being a very bad thing to think of, to believe in, to practice. Just a little bit about me and aside. I didn't grow up in a church, but for a while I was a part of a church where basically they were like, oh, well, magic is not good. That's like a terrible thing to do, right? And there might be some parents who, for some reason, they think that it's like magical thinking and they want you to be scientific and fact-based, right? So magical can be construed in a variety of different ways. So you have to kind of be aware of what's going on. That being said, I tried to give you the, well, actually, I didn't try. I did. I gave you the link for the Valley of the Moon. So if you were to click on that and open it up and read a little bit more, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is kind of like a magical, peaceful place, right? So again, remember, I was timed just like you guys are timed. When I do my sample up here for you guys, I set my timer, or I just look at the clock when I start, and I just start writing, and then I pay attention to the time, and I only give myself between 8 and 10 minutes to do my writing. So this was done in about 8 to 10 minutes, okay? So the why is there. Describe the moment that we can feel like we are with you. So I gave you some conversation, right? I gave you some things to look at so that you could maybe feel like you were there. And then I included an image. I didn't include real like sounds. I could have found like a recording of silence because it's pretty silent, or a recording of like a cat, just like a little single meow or a little whisper. Or I could have recorded myself doing that, right? If I had more time. I had to do this within 10 minutes. I don't have time to do all of that. So I'm just going to work within those confines. So within those confines, I have answered all of the parts of the prompt. thinking about content. I have included details so that you can feel like you are there. Okay. And again, some of you might be like, nah, it didn't really work for me. And that's where it kind of gets into this little subjective piece. So if we're going to look at it objectively, think of the five senses. When there's a descriptive piece of writing, is the person including what does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What do you maybe taste? What's the other one I missed? Oh, what does it smell like? Right? So I included what does it look like? What does it sound like? Kind of the feeling of the contentment. So I did 3 out of the 5, which is, you know, that's like the good closing, coming closer to the great part, right? The A being the great and the A plus being the awesome, amazing. So here I would go with, either the 8 or the 9. Some of you might have talked me into thinking like, maybe that's not a 9, maybe it's an 8.5 for content. Okay, fluency. When we look at fluency, remember I'm going to be looking at if it's just listening. Do you have all those weird ands and ums that are distracting? Things that are distracting to the audience are going to lower your score. If you do things, however, that draw the person in, so like I change the volume of my voice, right? Do you hear that? I whispered to my cat, right? I said it more quietly as if I was really in that moment, hoping to draw you in there. I paused, right? I took my time when I was like the nighttime, my favorite time of the day. Those of you who are musical and play an instrument, that might make a little more sense to you. But language is your voice, is an instrument. So that's why I received a 10 for the fluency. There were inflections, there were changes in timing, etc. When you look at it also with the sentence structure, there's a variety, right? There's conversation. Okay, it's not just like back, especially because this is saying describe the moment so we feel like you are there. Okay, and then there's shorter sentences. There is even like a sentence fragment that is used intentionally, and then there is even the onomatopoeia, right? So there's different pieces and types to help draw the reader in and to be fluent. Again, people might be thinking, I don't know, it's kind of distracting, especially because if I was just reading it, I might be like, I'm not sure, right? So again, that can come into play. But again, objectively looking at it, is there a variety of techniques that are used, different writing techniques to help the reader feel like they're there? Okay, then last one, organization, 8.5. And the reason it's only an 8.5 in the organization is right here. This, I heard that this is a sign of a cat feeling comfortable with its person. We could argue that no, that actually goes really well because it defines the squinting of the cat's eyes. However, remember, when you're looking at organization, just like you're looking at fluency, if it's a distraction, then your points go down. So people who are listening, like you're in this moment, right? Do you hear that? I whispered to my cat. Hear what? I imagine my cat whispering back to me. I'm still hearing this, right? And then we're seeing it. And then all of a sudden it's like, I heard that this is a sign of a cat feeling comfortable with its person. It's like, what? Where does that come from? For some people, that could be very confusing. To make this work, because basically that part, when a writer is writing and then they include their own thoughts, that's like the metacognition, that's like breaking the fourth wall, right? When you're looking at movies, you break the fourth wall and you're actually kind of talking to the audience. Not a common way of writing things. So maybe what you would need to do is add an introduction. So before the do you hear that? Just a little introduction. Hi, reader. I'm about to describe my favorite time of the day to you. I'm going to use different techniques such as conversation and also metacognition. I'm going to break the fourth wall so you can feel like you are there with me. And I'm going to explain to you why I am sharing some of these ideas. Then when the person gets to that point, they're like, oh yeah, this is just like breaking the fourth wall. The person is talking to me and it's not a distraction. So that would make the organization better, right? You could either do that in the introduction or in the conclusion. It's kind of up to you. So that's why the organization is only an 8.5. Okay, what questions do you have?